Welcome to the GCN Tech Show.
The Tour de France is in full swing, so this week we're talking about how you can actually make bike racing safer.
Plus, in Hot Tech, we have got a truckload of new bikes to go through. We've got some titanium 3D printed glasses, we've got some top secret unbranded kit for the pros, some custom headphones, as well as comments of the week and the bike vault. Let's do it.
Right, quick disclaimer this week's show. I'm suffering from life-threatening hay fever. Hopefully I can make it through the show without too many sniffles.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. But we're discussing how to make pro cycling safer. The big French bike ride is in full swing. And this is a hot topic. There's been a lot of chat about this recently, particularly around new regulations that the UCI is going to bring in to apparently make the sport safer. And they've decided to reduce the width that your handlebars can be and also limit the depth of wheels because apparently this will make it safer.
Plus the trial of reducing the maximum gear ratio that people can use.
will be happening later in the year, yes. Yeah. It was interesting to see at Dan's Hot Tech video that he did over at the Tour. A lot of the riders will be falling foul of these regulations. You know, a lot of riders have bars that are currently too narrow, which is interesting. Anyhow, this has all been determined by something called the Safe R Committee, which is headed by former rider Adam Hansen. And this committee meets every week to discuss incidents that have happened within cycling. And they also have a database of crashes. Okay?
You love databases, don't you?
Yeah. So they have a database of all the crashes that occur in the World Tour races.
Yeah. Now, we've been speaking about this, and you would assume that their database would be incredibly vast and correlate crashes with speed, but that's not really the case, is it?
No. So exactly. I mean, this all sounds great, and I'm sure that their intentions are good. And you know, Adam Hansen makes it very clear that his main priority is to improve safety, and he wants to. And I'm sure his intentions are good. However, it's our understanding that this database of crashes does not correlate speed with the crash. Now, that's important from a statistical point of view because it's impossible to analyse that data and come up with the conclusion that speed was the determining factor in that crash, and therefore that is the thing that needs to be reduced to make riders safer. You can't come to that conclusion.
Well, you can't even say it was a contributing factor without knowing that piece of information. You're just going, it would make sense that speed caused the crash, but we don't actually know.
Yeah, so analytically, scientifically, statistically, whichever way you want to put it, it's a very poor approach, and it's a huge assumption to say that speed is the thing that you therefore need to limit. Furthermore, to say that the things that... But then that's the first big assumption.
Yeah,
the next big assumption is to then go, well, how do we reduce speed? And they just assume that anecdotally, the things that are going to reduce speed...
Handlebars and wheels.
Those things. Whereas there are other ways. If speed is the thing that you need to reduce to make the sport safer, again, you would apply a scientific approach to determine the best ways to reduce speed.
It is at least a logical approach, right? To go that, okay, there's crashes. Most likely you could say that's from speed. And in theory, if you make people ride from, instead of 60 k an hour and they're at 40 k an hour, if they do happen to crash, like logically and common sense would say there's less likely to be significant injuries.
Well, yeah, like you fall off a bike at 60 k an hour, it hurts more usually than if you fall off at 40.
They always say the slow speed crashes are the sore ones.
That slow speed crashes are bad,
I know someone that fell off their bike at walking speed once, broke their wrist. There you go. That proves that theory wrong.
Yeah. But I mean, say, for argument's sake, if we were wanting to just... If reducing speed... If we were able to correlate crashes with speed and go, right, yes, speed is the thing that we need to do to make it.
You think you'd do stuff differently, don't you?
I think there are things you'd do differently. I mean,
so where would we go with this?
Ban Aero socks.
Okay, let's just be clear. We don't think Aero socks are going to reduce the speeds from 60 to 40 k an hour, but you think that would be a good way to start?
No, the thing is, right, so Aero socks are just they're such a amazing bang for buck upgrade. We joke about it, and I know a lot of people hate Aero socks, but the thing is, they work. Like they are like ridiculous. So, you know, you can be looking at like 15 watts at pro speeds for Aero socks. Yeah. You know, even, so JP Ballard from Swiss side, his company makes Aero wheels, like as one of their main things that they do, right? Yeah. And he's like gone on record saying, yeah, in most instances, like a pair of Aero socks makes more aerodynamic, you know, gives you more aerodynamic benefit than a deep section set of wheels. And it's like, think about that. Like,
so if you take that concept and flip it round to go, we want to make cycling slower. Yeah, don't worry about wheels.
You're looking
focus
at
on
like,
socks.
You know, Aero socks versus like, you know, crap socks. You can be looking at like a minute in a 40-kilometre time trial.
Well, yeah, I did some research on this for my Unbound experience. Don't know if I mentioned it. Did Unbound. But so what I think would be a good way to approach this would be, if we are going to talk about speeds and we want to reduce it, in my head, I think, why would you not approach changing elements or components of the race kit or bike that are easy to change rather than forcing upon mass changes upon teams, manufacturers, components? Yeah. Everyone's got to retool and rebuild everything. And it's like, change things that are easy to change.
Yeah, I mean, there's that. I think the other big one that I think would be a good thing to do would be tyres.
Yeah, like there's loads of good chats out here about this. Right?
So, you know, in other sports, there's a case study in MotoGP and Formula One for having a regulation tyre provider.
Like a single tyre supplier, yeah.
And so with that, there's a number of advantages. So if we always bang on again about tyres, best bang for buck upgrade you can make.
100%.
That makes such a big difference in performance.
Yeah.
But what if you flip that on your head and you deliberately reduce the performance? You can reduce the rolling resistance quite a lot, which will have a huge impact on slowing down race speeds.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you can improve grip because you can have compounds which are slower in rolling resistance but have
really
way more grip. And that's, you know, people go, and this is another thing with this whole thing, is when you change one thing, by changing something, there's a knock-on effect. You change things in another way.
Yeah.
So people will go with the classic one with tyres. You give more grip to riders, they're going to push harder in the corners and then take more risks.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And I would go, well, yes, some may do that.
Yeah.
But if you've made the tyre slower to begin with,
then
the entry speed into the corner is less.
Yeah.
But also, a lot of times when people do crash off, and we see this, they're not necessarily pushing it. They're just slipping off, like in the wet. Like
I feel like this is by no means like categorically proven. No data to back this up. I feel the biggest contributing factor to crashes are just other people. Like I just think that you've got so many people.
We'll get onto that. Yeah. But I mean, the other thing with tyres is if you slowed tyres down and made them slower, you always increase the puncture protection as well.
I'm big into this tyre theory that we're discussing.
So that's anyway, and you know, the current rule with the gearing proposal potentially limits riders to using 28s as well. And you think, well, 30s, more grip.
More grip. Also, I've like can we just talk about the tyres a little bit more, because we've got some great concepts here, right? I think if you could make there be one tyre supplier for a race, let's just say the Tour de France. Mm-hmm. I think you could radicalise the concept of the racing. Like, take the concept of Formula One. You go, right, everyone's got 3 tyres to choose from at the Tour de France. You use whatever ones you like on whatever days you like, but there's a really, really like...
The gravel tyre.
The gravel tyre. There's like the slow one.
Wet tyres.
The wet tyre. It's basically like bomb-proof, but it's slow. Or you've got like a bit of a halfway house, or you've got this incredible speedy tyre that is it's got like 0 puncture protection, and it's like, do you gamble on the speedy tyre, or do you go play it safe with the like grippy one and it slows the race down?
Yeah.
I think it could change the racing for sure.
Well, I spoke to Dan Bigham, right, about this. You know, regular viewers of the Tech Show will obviously be familiar with Dan. But he's performance engineer at Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe. And I was interested what his thoughts were on this. And, you know, the point he makes is that all the chat we've just done about tyres and about banning Aero socks...
handlebars...
it's all pointless, because without proper analysis, we're all just guessing about how to make the sport safer.
Yeah.
We don't know if this would improve safety. It's a guess. And he suggested that, again, the UCI needs to do a proper root cause analysis and understand what is actually causing crashes. Yeah. And, then you from doing that, you can put together data-driven solutions to well-formulated problems, and rather than just doing knee-jerk responses to things. Yeah. And I think from what we understand about what the UCI's done, and it's a lot of these decisions have been based on feelings and whims rather than actual data analysis and science. Yeah. And that's very disappointing. I think they've got people whose hearts are in the right place.
They're obviously trying to do the right thing.
Adam Hansen is on the one hand incredibly qualified. He's got contacts with all of the teams and all of the riders, and he's ridden an outrageous number of Grand Tours, more than 10. It's I think more than 20. I think he's ridden.
Well, I did at one stage, hold the record for the most days ever spent doing a Grand Tour.
Well, you can't. In terms of riding experience, it's hard to find someone more experienced than Adam Hansen.
100%, yeah.
But
he's not a statistician.
He's not a statistician.
Yeah.
Okay. And I feel that they need a statistician.
Yeah, I can get on board with that. I think that it does make perfect sense. If you're going to make these big sweeping changes to equipment regulations, you have to have it backed up with facts and figures that can't be disputed, because the changes that you make need to be made so robustly that people like you and I can't sit here and question it. Effectively. Yeah. It needs to be this has caused this crash this many times because of this speed. Then no one can question it.
This is the thing, right?
Yeah.
If they did a proper statistical analysis of this, and they went, well, you can clearly see in the data, narrow bars are causing all of the crashes, then everyone will be like, okay. Cool.
Yeah. And the gear restriction thing is a real interesting subject for me. And talking about Dan Bigham, he also covered this in his talk, didn't he? But
he did a talk before the tour in Lille on this. It was very interesting.
I was going to say, I've only really got a real snapshot of kind of what he talked about and the information, but I found it super interesting that he'd broken it down in terms of some of the data and speeds and gearing that everybody has used. And if you actually looked and correlated the speeds to the gearing and the cadence, it actually has a very, very small impact across the race duration, because there's only a short period of time when riders would actually be pedaling at those speeds with those gears. So it's gearing is really not going to change much.
Well, I think the other thing is it makes the point of, if you change one thing, you've got to be wary that it has a knock-on effect.
Yeah.
And so there's the point made that if you reduce the gearing, you're basically just going to have riders who change their training so that they can pedal at 140 RPM for a minute.
Yeah.
And then you can reach the same speed, but you're just pedaling at a ridiculous cadence.
Which then potentially could make it more dangerous. I don't know. It's actually a really interesting subject. I know we've kind of touched on it a few times in the past as well, but I am kind of working on this idea I've got at the moment, because I've already started speaking to a couple of different brands and manufacturers about how these changes affect them on the harsh realities of manufacturing goods and trying to sell them. And there's a real mixed feeling depending on who you speak to. Some brands are like, this is cool. Some brands are like, well, this is a huge problem for us because we've got warehouses full of this stuff that we're potentially now not going to sell. We've got to retool to make more stuff.
Well, that's the other thing as well. It's fair enough. Again, it's the timing of it. It's if you go, right, well, this is the thing of we're doing this study, we're doing it properly, and you give adequate warning to brands. It's a very short time scale.
Yeah, I don't know, it's tricky. But I'm going to try to explore that further and speak to different manufacturers and get this, because I think it could make an interesting video, basically. So,
I'm interested.
Well, I mean, that's pretty much our thoughts on it, but it's important that we do want to hear from everybody else. If you were given the opportunity to implement changes to the rules, how would you go around making bike racing safer? Do you agree with like the UCI's changes, or would you make different changes to yourself?
Well, the answer, we've just told them the answer.
No, but everyone's got their own thoughts.
They're all wrong, though. Until you're all wrong. Your opinions are wrong. Because the only right opinion is you need to do a proper analysis. You need to, and that will give you the answers, because you can have an idea of what it might be.
Yeah.
And some ideas are sensible and some are a bit far out there, but you don't know for sure.
I can't wait next week
until you do the science.
I can't wait to read out the obscure things people suggest next week. Everyone's just riding around with parachutes on. It will slow them down.
Yeah. Ban Aero socks.
See, I don't know. I actually disagree with you on that one.
Why? Do you still not believe? Are you still not a believer?
No, I'm a believer.
You still not believe in the power of the Aero sock?
I believe it.
Okay, well, why?
I just don't think it's going to have I just think there's other solutions. I
think you made a good point earlier. You just saying it is just inherently dangerous.
Like, it's just dangerous,
right? It's like if you were, diving with great white sharks.
Yeah, how can we make this safer?
How can we make this safer?
Don't do it. There you go. If you think it's too dangerous for you, don't do it.
Riders always moan about like the finishers being too technical. Yeah. But the thing is, right, I was thinking about this.
Yeah.
And you're far more qualified to talk about this than me. But
you go. Yes.
But I was thinking, like, do you remember in the Tour, like the stage where Cav got pipped and it finished on like a huge motor racing circuit?
I thought you were going to say this. Yeah.
This motor racing circuit was like the least technical finish possible. Like, really wide, no road furniture, just grass at the sides of the track.
Big crashes.
Still massive crashes.
I honestly
Do you know what I mean? Like, even when you give them the widest bit of road possible and like just the safest, smoothest, best tarmac, everything, it just still crashes.
I honestly think those finishes are more dangerous than the normal finishes, because there's so much space for so many people, and it's just like, this is like 10 wide going for the finish. You're like, this is worse than a twisty finish.
Well, it's like Castle Combe.
It's worse.
You get crashes at Castle Combe.
Honestly, I don't think real open finishes are the solution. I think it's just about, I don't know the answer. There you go. I don't know, but I don't think finishing on wide circuits.
Bunch sprints are dangerous.
It's a dangerous sport. You've got to accept it. What do you go to watch a motorsport race, back your ticket, what does it say, massive text? Motorsport is dangerous. Yeah. Well, maybe we need to have that for cycling. Cycling is dangerous. Yeah. You got to take the risks with it. It's now time for Hot and Spicy Tech, and we're going to kick this off with a new limited edition bike from Pinarello, the Dogma F1K, and I believe special edition bike, custom blinged out paint job, all these bits. 50 bikes available. Is that right?
Yes, which confused me a bit because the name is F1K, which stands for one of a kind. One of a kind, but there's 50 of them. That said, it does look absolutely blooming amazing.
1K can also be short for 1,000.
It can.
So that also adds some element into the mix.
Yeah. So they unveiled this at the Maratona, big Gran Fondo in the Dolomites the weekend. Fausto was there. I think he was riding one. I saw on Instagram.
Okay. Yeah. I tell you what, this bike looks honestly off the charts.
Yeah. It's in Luxor green.
Yeah, Luxor green.
And it looks like... It does look... I love the way that they've also colour-matched and painted the bar and stem as well.
Bar and stem.
They've started doing that.
Oversized pulley wheels was done. You've also got Princeton's with like green logo on.
That's all colour-matched. Because they did this on... when they had the 50th anniversary bike for their 50th anniversary...
the Giro, do you mean?
At the Giro, sorry. Because it was celebrating Pinarello's first win of a Grand Tour, which was Bertoglio in 1975 on the Stelvio Pass. And they did that incredible blue bike.
Well, when I was at Pinarello a long time ago, I saw all of those frames getting painted. So and nice. I was like, what are all these cool bikes in the corner?
I have one?
And very quickly they were like, nothing to see there, go away. But I did get to see them. They looked very cool.
They are doing nice paint jobs. Other thing we spotted, quick big thing, Dan saw this in his Hot Tech vid, but I thought it was cool. The new Met helmet that's being worn by Pogačar.
You'd assume, do you mean the vented one?
Yeah, the new Met Trenta.
Yeah. So this is interesting, and there's not really any details about it, but obviously you can see the design has clearly been tweaked. But also, I think I've spotted that they're using a slightly different, at least design, on the Manta, which is the Aero road helmet that UAE are using. And I can't quite tell if it's like just like the visual design, like the graphics on it, or if it's like a different shape and silhouette.
It's just cool because it's like, that thing of, when you went there, for people who haven't seen it, like Met have got a new like helmet-specific wind tunnel facility. Yeah. And it's like, they're clearly tweaking the designs of their helmets based on things that they're learning.
There's so much research into this.
The tunnel. Yeah. So these little slight differences, but it's interesting, yeah.
I think it's great to see a brand that like, look, we want to make the best bike helmets we can possibly make. So do you know what? We've literally invested in making a wind tunnel.
Yeah.
Like, fair play. Other mega bikes, the Tour de France, we've got to talk about the tricked out bikes that Mathieu van der Poel had and Jasper Philipsen.
Before he crashed, unfortunately. Yeah.
Unfortunately, Jasper Philipsen's bike is not looking quite so cool now it's been sent down the road. But I do hope he, get well soon kind of message from us.
Gutting for him.
But Canyon actually made a really cool little Instagram reel of how the bikes were custom painted and made.
Yeah.
It looks absolutely boss, so big up for that.
Yeah, yellow and green Canyon air roads looking absolutely sick. Also, there's a new Merida Reacto.
Okay.
Dan wasn't able to see this when he was out at the tour, but I have seen this elsewhere. So looks pretty cool. So it's their aero bike, and it's noticeably different from the previous one. Do you remember when we rode the Reacto? We had Sculpturas with
Fred Wright.
Fred Wright, yeah.
Yeah, this was before he was like proper big time.
Yeah.
He was like big time, but now he's like proper big time.
He's too big time to do that
now he'd be like, I'm not riding with you jokers.
Fred Wright, absolute weapon though. Yeah. I mean, that day, like, we were riding really hard and he gave us like a massive head start and he just like caught us up in no time.
I was like, oh great, he's caught us already. Yeah, cool. But interesting to see the design of the bike maximising like UCI regulations.
Yeah, so much deeper head tube.
Yeah.
And then the curious thing is the seat tube. They've cut it out behind where it goes behind the front wheel. So there's actually a gap between the tube now, like a slot between the rear, the seat tube and the rear wheel. Reminiscent of the Specialized Shiv TT bike.
Okay.
But curious design feature. But again, not been officially revealed or launched yet. So stay tuned for more details when we get them.
Okay. Next, right, I'm excited to talk about this. I know you're going to sort of be like, what are you talking about? Right. Titanium 3D printed cycling glasses from Rudy Project. Okay. I love 3D printing. I love titanium. And do you know what? I like cool glasses. This is right up my street. So these are to celebrate the 40th anniversary of Rudy Project. They weigh just 36 grams.
Is that light, though? I mean, I swear, like, I've got cycling sunglasses that weigh that or less.
Are they 3D printed from titanium?
No.
Well, there you go. I rest my case. Right. When I first saw these, I thought, do you know what? These are right up my street here.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm in the market for some new glasses.
I think you are.
Then I also sort of looked down at some information lower on the...
100 available.
100 of them available, so I was like, this is kind of going to rule me out.
I could get one of those.
It's kind of ruling me out a little bit. Then I looked at the price. 950 euros, I thought, I'm out. Yeah,
but that's like... I mean, that's a tenth of what I get paid for every GCN Tech show.
So we just got to make this show, like, 5 minutes longer? And then you'll be able to get a set.
Yeah.
For both of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Nonetheless, I think it's kind of cool to see stuff like this made, utilising the latest tech. Okay, right. Next up is some clothing tech to talk about here.
Oh, this is hats off.
Yeah.
This is good marketing.
It's like marketing genius
This
maneuver.
is good marketing.
So, Castelli, a brand that everyone knows and is familiar with.
Yeah.
They're renowned for making like good quality performance, like foul weather kit. You know, they're arguably the inventors of some of this
Gabba.
Yeah, the Gabba.
Yeah.
And basically they've seen a gap in the market because they've been approached by so many different teams and pro riders going, can we get what you make, but just no logos on it? Because, you know, we're not sponsored, don't want to cause any problems.
Yeah.
And Castelli have gone, right, big move here, this is going to be genius. We're going to actually sell this stuff online for pros. We've got no logos on it, and we're going to list it as like team workwear on the website.
Yeah, workwear. Workwear.
I mean, I'm good on them, but it is super cool. They've it's all the bad weather kit.
Yeah.
Just it looks like slick black.
And if you want to buy some Castelli kit with no logos on it, you can too.
Yeah, there you go.
New Cervelo S5 and R5 spotted at the tour. Dan got his hands on them.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. I think the big thing for I think the thing that Dan speaks in more detail about him. He's done some pro bike videos on the bikes, so that will be coming on the channel. Subscribe so you don't miss it. The big detail though that I want to talk about here is the fact that they've changed the R5 so that it now has the same geometry as the S5.
Okay.
And this is important because clearly the team want Visma Lisa bike want the riders to ride both.
Yeah.
And because they see the value in the two-bike strategy. Rather than we've spoken about this before, rather than having like the all-round do-it-all bike of, say, like a Specialized tarmac or a Pinarello Dogma, they're like, no, we want to polarize it. We want to have the Aero bike and we want to have the climbing bike and we want the riders to interchange depending on the stage.
We want it to be easy to carry over your bike fit and stuff like that. Okay, well, the bit of information I've got here actually is geared around the S5 because it's also launched and available on the Cervelo website. Some of the headline stats, I think, there was one bit of wording that really stands out to me. I'll read it out in a second, but headline stats, they're saying it's 6.3 watts faster than the predecessor, 124 grams lighter, new handlebar design with that kind of like V-stem thing. But also, this is the bit that really stands out to me. Cervelo say, we're confident that the S5 is at least 5 watts faster than the bikes of our competitors. I mean, that's a big statement to make.
I think that statement, I don't know for sure, but I'm going to guess that that's around the sort of Tour magazine test protocol.
So I think a lot of brands would be like, I think you might double check that. Anyway,
that sort of thing.
If you look, I looked on their website, what I thought was good is they actually sell one with like one of the Aero bikes in a one-by setup with the SRAM Explore rear derailleur. Like, like we saw Lidl Trek and a couple of teams did it for the classic season, didn't they? Ran like the gravel rear derailleur and a big cassette. And I thought it was cool to see a manufacturer list that as a spec option. Yeah. Right. Other tech from Tour de France related, I guess. So Lotto cycling team have teamed up with their U Lab, so they're like custom. Oh yeah. They're like innovation department, I guess. And then Vision and FSA working on trying to optimize the time trial bikes of the Tour. And there's a couple of bits that I've seen they've tried to focus on. So now the time trial extensions, they've got like a semi-custom setup with different sizes available for the riders to choose from. But also this like FSA K-Force power box crank with like a carbon 1x chainring. Nice. I thought that was interesting to see like a big name manufacturer like offering that as an option, because typically those carbon chainrings are like from more niche brands.
Yeah, the FSA carbon chainrings. Yeah, saw them at Taipei.
They look boss.
Really nicely made.
I'll tell you what, I'd love a 1x carbon chainring. I got absolutely no need for it. I just think it would make any bike look boss.
Yeah. Well, let's keep an eye out in the bike vault. They also had their one-piece bar and stem on their road bikes as well. That All Bayer are making now, which is pretty cool.
That. Right, and then in Hot Tech, finally, I think we got some headphone chat, right?
Yes.
Now,
so
I'm confused there. You talk to me more about this.
These are some new headphones, right? Okay, so let's open the box. I'll move the cable.
This is like the most budget unboxing ever.
Yes. These headphones. So these are noise-cancelling wireless Bluetooth headphones.
Yeah.
But they're not any headphones.
Yeah.
These are Zwift headphones.
If I keep talking, can you hear me or not?
No.
Great.
Because it cancels out the noise. But what it does, right, these headphones are designed for use when you're Zwifting.
Yeah.
So normally, like normal headphones get really sweaty and horrible. These ones are 100% sweat-proof. And so the pads on them here, they're not made from the normal material. They actually, I saw they come in the box with some sort of traditional normal pads.
Yeah.
But these ones are like a sort of silicone...
Sweat resistant.
Proof like material, which is quite interesting. They're very squidgy. But yeah, that's quite a cool thing.
I think it's called like a Zwift collab kind of thing. Yeah, I like that. I mean, I'm a very sweaty guy, so maybe in winter I'll test them out.
You are.
Yeah, there you go. I think that's it for Hot Tech this week. The only thing that we could throw to is Conor says he might have some Gubbins for us. So,
really?
Conor, if you got some Gubbins, now's your chance.
Hey everyone, I'm back for more Gubbins. Been a little lax recently, so I've got a bumper edition this week, starting off with this fly fishing rod holder. I've got kind of obsessed with going on a fly fishing bikepacking trip, and this looks like a really good solution for strapping a fishing rod to your bike. Kind of works on those bottle mount cage holders, and it just goes on the side. Strap the rod there. Perfect if you're into your fly fishing. I also spotted this. Now, I recently became a father, and Out and About are kind of one of my favourite buggies to use. I think they're absolutely bomb-proof. But I noticed they've just started making bikes. So this is called the Nip About. It's a rear-loaded cargo bike. Comes in at 3,650 UK money. All-terrain, they say. Looks like a great solution. And interesting that a buggy kind of predominant manufacturer is now going into the bike world. Finally, as well, if you're looking to carry your surfboard, kayak, or potentially even a stand-up paddleboard, it can be difficult on a bike, but this looks like a great solution. It's like a little kind of impromptu trailer with 2 wheels. You kind of strap your board to this little trailer, and then you strap the nose of your board to your bike on the saddle, and then you can like tow it along. So if you are riding to the beach, you want to go for a paddle, that looks like a great solution. I'd be quite interested to give it a try myself. There you go. Plenty of gubbins for you. I'll be back next week.
Right. Shall we move on to comments of the week?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. These were from underneath the show from last week. Ruben says...
Ruben Boniface.
Oh, yeah, 7853 says, nothing wrong with 2x-mechanical. It's reliable and robust.
Agreed, mega.
I agree. Actually rode into work on a 2x11-speed group set.
Love 11-speed.
105. Next one.
Unicizo says, peak bike gearing would be a CVT. That is as efficient as, and weighs what a chain does. Just pedal, no shifting.
I mean, that would be great, but I mean, it's going to just be very, like, complicated to make and very heavy.
Yeah.
So, like, if anyone doesn't know, CVT, constant velocity transmission. There you go.
Some comments underneath Dan's Tour de France hot tech video. Warhammer says, love the video. But who's the new guy?
Yeah, I was like, surely this has got to be a joke.
I like to think that it's not a joke. I like to think that this guy hasn't seen Dan before.
We've got no idea who Dan is.
Who is this guy?
He was like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
And well, if you haven't seen it...
Who's this boomer?
Yeah, who's this old guy talking about bikes? Right, it's Dan. Dan's like the OG. How can anyone not know that? Another guy, Cycling Shorts, says B&Q providing the trusty tape measure. Yeah, I did spot this, and I was quite disappointed by Dan, if I'm honest. I was like, why have you not got like one of the Park Tools?
Park Tool tape measure.
Got loads of Park Tools tape measures here. What does he go? B&Q budget one. No good. Disappointed, Dan.
Is that James Shaw that's commented that?
I doubt it, if I'm honest.
No, it is. It is.
Oh, it actually is.
That is James Shaw.
Oh, it is James Shaw.
James Shaw has commented that. You've pulled out James Shaw's comment.
There you
Love
go.
that.
There you go. Thanks for noticing, James.
So for people James Shaw, rider for EF Education First.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Watching the Tour de France Tech.
Yeah. Malcolm J. Cullen was hoping you'd be taking a look at the most beautiful bike on the tour. The Coffers looks 13-speed record. Well, I think we've covered a lot of those bikes as well. Yeah. And then...
the Giro.
Yeah, underneath...
It's good, though.
The video where I ranked all the Tour de France bikes from cheapest to most expensive. Couple of good comments here. Fraser Goodwin says, which bike to choose? Easy. X-Lab frame set built up with spare Dura Ace chain set, and then just pocket the rest of the cash. There you go.
Yeah, love that. You and your spare Dura Ace chain sets.
Do you know what? Those jokes just pass me by these days because I'm just so immune to them now.
No, you're not. I've seen you crying in the corner.
Deep down inside, just dying right now.
Ace Bramier says, if I had unlimited funds, I would just get all of the pro bikes in the Tour de France. With unlimited funds, there is no need to pocket any cash, is it?
Yeah, okay. I said, just don't take literally what I said. I said if you have unlimited money, what bike would you choose? It's like, well, obviously, if you had unlimited money, you wouldn't have to choose. You'd have all of them.
Bike Vault, where you submit pictures of your bike and we will judge them to be either nice, super nice. And if they're super nice, Alex will ring the bell. So, this one, first up, we've got a bike from Fabian, who said he got this crashed frame for cheap, got it checked by a professional and repaired, looks as good as new. He's built it up with Campagnolo Super Record. It's a Dogma on a budget. What do you make of that?
Is there such a thing as a Dogma on a... Whoa!
Look at the P0 tyres with tan walls on.
This is off the charts.
Yeah, that's pretty good, isn't it?
Off the charts.
Is that a shadow stand?
What's ironic is that the custom painted Pinarello he's done himself is actually a very similar theme to the limited edition Dogma that's just launched.
I don't know, is that, what colour is
Similar,
it? It looks like a celebration of brown.
You're colourblind,
Is that a celebration of brown?
No, it's green.
Is it?
I think it's green.
It looks pretty brown to me.
Great. All right. What are we making of this bike? Nice.
Super nice.
Super nice.
Yeah. 310 cycles next with a home build steel Geos.
Oh, love this. 105 rim brake, carbon saddle, carbon seat post.
Chromium molybdenum steel frame set.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Amazing. I like it. Whoa, I mean,
apparently,
is this just the angle of the picture? What's going on with the handlebars? They just look very obscure.
They look like Andrew Feather's handlebars.
Yeah.
Very wide and very like upwards pointing.
Yeah.
But it's
shadow stand.
A shadow stand and shadow log combined.
Shadow log combined.
Yeah. I'm there for it. You know what? That cost €1,200 and it looks amazing.
It does look amazing.
And it's clean. Yeah.
Super nice. Next up, we have
Lance VG.
They say Lake Chellan near Chellan. Is it synapse or synapse? What would you say?
It's tomato or tomato.
58.
Tomato or tomato.
Yeah. Okay. 58 cents.
Potato or potato.
Any others? Go on. You got any others?
Yeah. Anyway. The worst one in chemistry, okay, it's methyl. And it's methyl and it's ethyl. They're sort of prefixes for molecules, okay?
Oh, yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
Americans, they say methyl and ethyl, which sound like old ladies.
Methyl and ethyl.
Methyl and ethyl. No, it's methyl and ethyl.
Couple of old ladies down
Anyway,
there.
it's synapse.
Okay, cool. Thanks for clearing that. I like, the background looks great. I don't like how the bike is potentially leant against the concrete wall. I don't like how there's a sign that says no fishing allowed.
Oh, yes. No, I quite like the no fishing allowed.
Yeah?
Yeah. I can get on board with that one. I like the wheels. They're really cool.
Wind space wheels. 46 front, 54 rear.
No, I'm into that. I can super nice that.
Super nice. Next one we have...
Dewanda bike with a Dewanda bike. It's a Time Alpe d'Huez with Rolf Prima Aries 4 carbon wheels.
I love these wheels. They're so cool. I mean, that bike is cool, to be fair. Yeah. Held up with the GCN's shadow stand. I mean, automatic, super nice.
Yeah, I'm into that one. I think that's really good.
I'm big into that,
It's on the San Andreas fault as well.
Okay.
You know what that is?
No, you're going to tell me.
Basically, in the 1980s, there was a plot by Christopher Walken to set off bombs using Grace Jones in mines under the San Andreas fault, which would have flooded the entire of Silicon Valley. Fortunately, Roger Moore was able to stop Christopher Walken by fighting him from a blimp on top of the Golden Gate Bridge.
Cool.
But he's at the San Andreas fault.
Thanks.
There you go.
Right. Super nice?
Yeah.
David next. He says he turns 50 this year and decided to go all in on a custom-built Luxter Blue Dogma F.
That's like mine. That's like my one.
Oh, okay, yeah. David, you have gone all in. Okay, ceramic coated it.
Oh, yeah. He's speaking
great.
to me. I love a ceramic coat.
Yeah.
Ceramic coat all of my bikes.
I ceramic coated the glass on the inside of my shower once, and it was really, really helpful.
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah, it was really good.
Super nice.
Super nice.
Yeah. Good. Is that it?
Yeah, that's it. It was a quick fire bike ride this week.
God, bloody good ones. High standard this week.
High standard. Yeah, I like that. There you go. That's this week's show done. I enjoyed that. It's good to have you back. I think you're off on another little top secret mission and a trip now.
Yeah, flying to France tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing to do with the tour, though.
No.
More exciting things.
More exciting. Well, I look forward to hearing about it. And as always, if you want to find out about it, subscribe to GCN Tech and GCN and then turn on your notifications. Make sure you don't miss out on our future videos.
Love you. Bye.
See ya.